بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا الأنبياء والمرسلين نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين أما بعد. We usually take this time before Salatul Jumu'ah to answer any questions. General questions, they don't have to be about Ramadan. For Ramadan, we actually have a specific question form. So if any of you do have questions you want to submit every night before Salatul Isha, we'll be taking about 15 minutes, inshallah, to answer those questions. The link should be up on the website, and you can go and just click on it and you can submit your question. It's completely anonymous, so you don't have to put your name, inshallah, and we'll answer those questions every night. So there are a couple questions I did receive, unless somebody has a specific question they'd like me to deal with. No. One of the questions was how do I engage in a relationship? So if I'm looking to get married, what are the steps, or what are the halal steps I can do to do that, or to seek a spouse? There are a lot of apps online, and I know some of those apps you can actually go, and what happens is, like, you as an individual, you can go sign up for the app that you're looking for a particular spouse, and you look through a bunch of profiles, and you can click on the one you're interested in, and then you send the information to them. So some people ask, well, is that jaiz? Is that a permissible way of looking for a spouse? I can't say it's haram, as long as your intention is pure, right? So if your intention is actually to seek and you're looking for a wife, I think that's okay, or you're looking for a husband, that's okay. The major problem with these apps is that what is the first thing you're looking for? It's just the looks, right? And what happens is when I make my decisions just superficially based, I'm not going to have the right filter, right? I'm not going to be able to filter the right person, who it is good for me to marry. And the reason I mention that is if I'm in a position where I'm looking to get married, me personally, or a sister's looking for a person to get married, what happens is that our judgment is already clouded, right? My judgment is going to be clouded. The only thing that when I'm looking at just an image on a screen or on an image on the computer, I'm only looking for looks, right? This is the only thing I'm looking for, and that is not a good judge of a spouse. That's not a good judge of whether this person is going to be a good husband or whether this person is going to be a good wife. So I usually suggest for people, it's not a problem using these apps, but always have a third party involved. You know, get your parents involved, or get somebody who's older, who's involved, who you trust, can help you make the decision and kind of guide you through the process. Because if we start doing this ourselves, and I've seen this happen, and unfortunately with a lot of young people today especially, is that they just use the apps, and instead of looking to get married, they look for a boyfriend or they look for a girlfriend. And that's what happens, is that they'll use these apps and they'll just go out on dates. So, like, you know, every month or every week, they'll just go out on a date, and what happens is your intention becomes muddled, right? We fool ourselves into thinking that I'm looking to get married, but deep down, you're not really looking to get married. You know, you're looking for an excuse to spend time with the opposite gender. And someone might say, okay, well, you know, what about a person who is sincere? Well, the question then comes, how many women are going to be interested with a man who's sat with 15, 20, 30, 40 girls? It's a valid question. And the opposite, right? How many men are going to be interested in a woman who sat with maybe 15, 20, 30, 40 guys? And the problem is now you've developed a reputation, right? You've developed a reputation in the community that this person, all he does is, like, he just takes this person out for coffee, and it might be innocent, and his intention might be right initially, right, when he first started. But what happens is now not only has he started this process and got caught in this process, is that he is now done this so many times that his personal intention becomes muddled. It becomes very muddied. It's not as clear as it was initially. And in addition to that, now that he has so many choices, or she has so many choices, they've stopped looking for someone who's a good match, right? They've stopped looking for a good match, and they keep looking for a better one. The problem with looking for better is there's always going to be something better, right? Like, it never ends, right? You can always find something that's better. But if I stopped and my intention was right and I was looking for a good match, this person matches, you know, maybe 70% of the things I'm looking for, and maybe there's 10% that we can work on, and 20% like we disagree on. I think that's a good match. I personally think so, because we're not going to find a 100% match. We can't. It's not possible that I agree 100% with someone else. Why? Because we're different. Like, we're human beings. We're always going to be different. We can't think the same, we can't talk the same, we can't look the same. It's just not possible. And because we're different, we have to recognize those differences. And many times, I as a man or I as a woman, I'm looking for certain things and I forget, like, what am I offering? Like, what am I bringing to the table? If I don't have a stable job, I'm probably not a good candidate. If I don't work out, if I don't maintain my health, this will make me less desirable. And someone might say, oh, well, it shouldn't be like that, it shouldn't be like this. There are a lot of things that shouldn't happen, but unfortunately, that's reality. That's how it is. This is how men and women judge each other. So when we go and we look for a potential spouse, it's important that, yes, keep what society is looking for in mind. If there are certain things that society is asking, if there are certain things my parents are asking for, like if you're looking for someone who has a stable job, right? A lot of times what a lot of shabab, a lot of young men, they get confused is like, well, yeah, okay, I'm not rich. Akhi, nobody's asking you to be rich. But can you afford living in your own space? Can you afford your own apartment? Can you afford your own car? Can you afford another person? Can you afford to pay for her health insurance? Right? These are very basic, important things. Can you pay for her food? Can you pay for her clothing? Can you take care of her? None of this requires anyone to be rich. But it requires to have some money, right? It requires some stability in our lives. And that stability can come through a business, that stability can come through a job, that stability can come through, maybe you inherited a lot of money, whatever the case might be. But there has to be independence. If I am not financially independent, then I've already set myself up to fail. Vast majority of marriages fail because of financial hardship. This is known. This is very well known. That vast majority of marriages fail because of financial hardship, because the husband, specifically the husband. So subhanAllah, if you actually look at the statistics, if a husband and wife are both contributing to the house, and the husband loses his wife, the husband loses his job, or the husband he can't maintain the income, many times this marriage ends in divorce. But if the opposite happens, and the husband and wife are both contributing, and the wife loses her job, the marriage still stays. Like it. Think about that. You know what I mean? Like they're both contributing, but this is just the perception in society. This is how society is working. And again, we don't have to agree, we don't have to disagree, but we need to understand that this is it. This is the situation. This is how it is. Do I want to get married or not? If I don't want to get married, this is your choice. Like nobody's going to hold a gun to anybody's head and say, no, you have to get married. No, like it's your choice. But if we want to get married, then these are all of the things we need to make sure that we have. Because at the end of the day, marriage is a gamble. Nobody can guarantee anything. Nobody can guarantee that the marriage is going to succeed. And if we understand that marriage is a gamble, I have to stack as many cards in my favor as I can. If I can bring financial stability, if I can understand that some of the shortcomings that I had when I was growing up, understand some of the problems that I have personally, it will help me navigate that relationship better. Like, subhanAllah, there was a couple they told me, they were having a conversation, and they said, we realized we didn't know a lot about our pasts, about each other. Like, how we grew up and where we grew up and like who our friends are and whatnot. And then the husband, he said to the wife, he's like, I was less concerned with your past and more concerned with our future. Which is why the conversation never really came up. And they were happy. Like, it's not like they had a problem or, that, I need to know everything about my spouse. No. I need to know about myself. This is the most important thing. Because if I know about myself, then I can request what I want from my spouse. I can ask her, right? She doesn't have to agree to everything, but at least I know what I want. And will she give me something? So yes. Will she be able to give me everything? No. Just like I can't give her everything. Right? This it's give and take. فيها أخذ وعطاء بين الزوجين, and this is something that's really important. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us tawfiq.